I'm in Spain. I'm with the Scrambler 1200 XE. I'm here for 2 weeks, and Triumph Adventure Centre Spain have gifted me this bike to use for the 2 weeks and the whole duration of that time to do as I please with this bike. We did a bit of a discussion back and forth. I said I'm going to make some good content, try and go for like coast roads, some Spanish mountains, and just all round kind of like a video which kind of shows off Spain through all different kind of sceneries and scenarios. So that's what I'm doing. I'm currently just sat outside of Mias. Mias is just there. Benalmádena is just that way. I've been riding for about half an hour and I physically have had to stop because I think I've nearly died of dehydration. It is, I'll tell you what temperature it is. Currently, as I stand right now, it is 37 degrees with a UV rating of 6, which is, in my eyes, where I come from in England, that's pretty warm. Like, that's definitely on the warm side. And the fact that I'm on a Scrambler, which has a nice, toasty, hot exhaust, which passes all the way through my leg on one side, makes me probably double as toasty. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with. I'm not moaning. It's a great experience. I mean, there's like a gang full of bugs like flies trying to attack me. But let's talk a little bit more about this bike. I used to have one of these. I actually had the XC and I enjoyed it. It was a good bike, but I always found myself wanting more of a road bike myself, because I find with this, it's like a Range Rover. You're never gonna take it off road. There might be a small percentage of people who will, but this bike is too nice, and for nearly £13,000 to take a £13,000 bike off road with the chance, well, the very high like chance that you're going to drop this bike, it wasn't something I was prepared to do. And with living, close proximity to London, I always found the urge that when I'm filtering, I like to have both feet down. And on the XC, I could definitely flat foot one foot and 75% the other foot. Where this is like flat foot one side and 25% the other side. This is 870 millimeters height, which is a very tall. You're talking, Ducati Multistrada factory height, BMW GS height, Triumph Tiger. I think the Rally height, is roughly the same as this, but I'm not going to get into technicals. If you want like a technical video, there's much more qualified and better people for me, like Username Kate, Ruby Rides, Moto Bob. They're going to tell you all the facts. I'm not going to tell you the facts. I'm going to give you real life what I think of this bike. If you are looking at buying this bike, my advice would be, if you're fairly tall or fairly capable on a bike, control-wise, this is the bike for you, for sure. If you are 5'7", unless you are a very good enduro rider or an off-road rider, I think you may struggle. You may not, but that's just my opinion. I'm 5'11", and there's been a few times where I could have done with the bike being just a little bit lower, just to give me that support when you're kind of like a camber of a road, or essentially like a dirt road, where you just want that extra security with both feet down. But they've made a few improvements on their bike since I had the kind of like the early. I had a 23 plate, so this is a 25. I don't know why I'm looking at a number plate, don't have that in Spain. So they've done a few differences. One, on this model, they have got rid of the Öhlins rear, which I don't think it was a great move. I know they have put the Öhlins back, which is obviously a move in the right direction. They've got rid of the keyless, which I didn't mind the keyless. The keyless was good in the aspect that you could just jump straight on the bike, hold down the button and you're gone. But then the problem is you've kind of made a bike keyless, but then you had to put the key in to unlock and lock the steering lock. Why didn't they just put the electronic steering lock like they have on the Tiger or the Rocket, where you full lock it, hold down the top button, That doesn't really make sense to me. It's kind of like you've done a 50-50 job, but they've got rid of it, so it's kind of easy. You can just off, on, then just clutch in, family of flyers, and just. So we'll give you a little exhaust. Sounds pretty good for a stock bike. Sounds pretty good, I'll be honest. I can't fault the sound wise on this bike. There's a couple of faults I could find with this bike. One being, this is like a sauna. I've been riding for about half an hour. I've left this bike for about half an hour. I've been literally sitting here in the woods, obviously trying to plan this video. And by touching that, that's hot. Like that's really hot, and that's meant to be the protective cover, and so's this. That's warm. That's scorching. That is roasting, and yeah, you could cook a fried egg on there. I might as well cook up an English breakfast while I'm here, because that is baking. I know everyone moans about it. I know online there's a place in Germany now where you can take all these trims off and you can put like a heat resistant double-sided sticky on the insides, which helps. But I think the biggest help with exhaust like this, and what I've done, is take the cat out, offload it, mate. Restricts it, makes it hotter. Off your trot, cat. See ya. That's what I would do personally. I've done it before. Yeah, I'm not trying to tell anyone, just in case anyone says, oh, it's illegal. It is illegal. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life. I'm just giving you suggestions. But on to the next one. Mickey Mouse mirrors. They are disgusting. They shouldn't be kept on a bike. They are my biggest hate, having mirrors like that. I hate them. I think they're so ugly. They ruin the look. I think they need to be bar ends straight from the get-go, or like a moto gadget straight underneath, because it just ruins the silhouette of the bike, the way it goes, and the handlebars, and you've got like the hand guards, and then you've just got two Mickey Mouse stickers. They're not even stickers, I don't know why they're stickers, but mirrors plonked on either side, which, listen, someone might like it, but for me, I'd get rid of it, personally. That would be gone. The next thing would be the usual and the most famous thing to ever do on a bike. Get rid of that monstrosity. The big massive dinner plate, which sticks off the end. Doesn't look good, doesn't look cool, doesn't serve a purpose. Not a great fan. So tail tidy, off your trot. The next thing would be is change the indicators. I've always thought these indicators, you probably might not be able to see them here, but I'm not even going to try and rest my leg on that exhaust because I will get 3rd degree burns. They do the job, they're great, but I felt Triumph could have gone a bit more premium with the indicators, especially front and back. They're just a bit, I don't know, they feel flimsy to me, like generally really flimsy. But right, we are off the negatives, I believe. Let me just think if anything else. No, there isn't any more negatives. Right, let's get on to the positives. This bike is comfortable. Can you tour on this bike? The simple question is yes, you can. Triumph do a big massive adjustable fly screen, which actually, to be fair, it doesn't look that bad. Plump one of them bad boys on, get some heated grips. You've already got hand guards. You can put one side of bag, tail bag, tank bag. Mate, you can tour on it, I promise you. The suspension on this is wild. It is very, and I'm not even really trying, it is very, that wasn't me, I don't know what that was. Strange. And the front as well. It's bouncy, it's very comfortable. You've got, I can't even read it. Manchoki, don't know what it says on the front. Oh, they're the same front and back. Can't really get any better than that, apart from Olin's. But I think they've only put O-lings on the back. I don't think there's O-lings on the new front one. I might be wrong, but yeah. The suspension is great. The modes are great. I always find myself kind of always in road. I haven't really had a go at off-road mode. I don't really think I'm that much of a capable rider, not yet. Sport's pretty good, makes the throttle very snatchy. And I think with a bike like this, where it's got so much suspension travel, it feels a lot more than it is. Like now, if I'm riding normally and you're in second gear and you full throttle it, you feel like you're on a race bike because the whole front comes up and then comes back down because how much bounce and movement there is. So that is a benefit of having great suspension. And it is great suspension. I can't really fault it. It is very comfortable. Like even when you're going over speed bumps, you don't really feel it. The suspension, you know, kind of works so well front and back. Where I've been on some bikes and it is like sitting on a cardboard box or a park bench. It's literally just like bang, right up your coccyx, going straight up your back, and it's painful. Bobber, for instance, that's one. Very stiff suspension unless you upgrade it. Second thing, seat's great, seat's amazing. It's got a lot of give in there. I personally, I wouldn't change the seat, not at all. Foot pegs. Yeah, I wouldn't really say I'd change anything on the foot pegs, I'll be quite honest. I wouldn't change anything. The pegs are perfectly positioned, the brake's good. Not everyone likes kind of like this off-roady one, but I believe you can swap that out, but that's pretty good. The headlight, LED, great. Backlight, great. Indicators, great, just a bit flimsy. The controls, I mean, I'm not really used to, on the left control, you've got the fog light at the top if you have optional fog lights. And then next to it, you've got a cruise control button. It's good, it works well, cruise control's amazing. I prefer where the button is on my T120, which is just above the indicators. So instead of clicking it on this bike, on my T120, you can do it with your thumb. I think it's a little bit more easier to, when you're riding, it feels like less of a chore to kind of stretch your thumb over than it is to kind of click your finger over. I'm probably looking a bit strange, making weird gestures to the cars riding and driving past, but you know, we're out here trying to make a YouTube video, trying to be entertaining. So yeah, the controls I wouldn't change. The display, I would say this is probably the nicest display Triumph has ever put it out, and I'm a little bit upset they haven't put it in more bikes. You've kind of only got this display in the Rocket now and the Scrambler. I know they put a new display on the Scrambler X. I don't really like it. I know they put that same display on the Speed Twin 900 and the Speed Twin 1200. The single clock, I'm not a great fan. This one just works. You can just hit home. You know, you've got rider modes, bike setup, trip setup, display setup, theme, gears. You can press it again. You know, you've got mode, you've got road, sport, off-road, off-road pro. I'm never using that. Rider, rain. Thought someone was beeping at me then. And then you can go through temperature, fuel, trip, style. Oh, we can change style. And chronos, quartz. That looks a bit ugly. Yeah, not a fan of that one. But display-wise, can't fault it. Simple, works well. You can justify it. You can justify it. You can customize it. You can get tire pressure warnings on it. You can get your phone connected to it. There's a few other things. I think you can connect your GoPro to it. I'm not sure how. I know when you get the phone package, you can connect your bike to the Triumph app, so you can see like fuel, mileage, trips. So that's always a bonus, which you can't really fault that. What else have we got? Speed. This bike has enough. I've had a few people messaging me, what's the drive like? Is it underpowered? This bike is certainly not underpowered. I don't think I've been on any Triumph 1200 range and ever wanted more power. This bike, I believe, and most of the 1200 ranges are built to, I would say, 95% perfection. You've got quality, you've got the looks, you've got the general craftsmanship, you've got the speed, and you've got the comfort. people might look at it and go, it's only about 80 brake horsepower, mate. That's not a lot. I've taken these bikes across Europe. It's enough. These are very much talky, low-end bikes. You don't need to rev them. They do the job. They get there comfortably. You can put a pillion on the back of this bench seat and you can be probably one of the most comfortable setups in the world, apart from her burning her leg. You know, maybe ask her to wrap up a little bit. But generally, power-wise, you will never want any more power. If anything, you would probably just want to open up the flow a bit more with the exhaust. In my opinion, I personally would, just if I'm carrying a passenger. I probably would like to do that. Sorry, there's just a wild dog running over the mountain. I probably shouldn't whistle it. I think they have rabies out here. I don't fancy going to get to the hospital to get a jab. I've got a few things to do, so... Oh, it's gone. Oh, there's a cat following it. Wow. A lot of abandoned dogs and cats out in Spain. Horrible, but... Back to it. I forgot what I was saying. Opening the flow. Yeah. The flow, it's optional. But I think with a bike like this is kind of like a bike you buy and you kind of never upgrade from, because there's nothing really to upgrade from, you know. It just has everything, and you can always do more to a Triumph. But there's one thing you'll never need to do more, is brakes. You probably might not see, but there's some big boy brakes on the front of that. Big Brembos, double whammy, big boys each side with some big old discs. And this bike stops big time. Big time. I've tried it. There's been a few crazy Spanish drivers and I've had to hit the brakes a bit pronto. This can stop. Sometimes a bit too quick. But apart from that, would I buy one? That's the biggest question. Yes, I would. I would. I 100% would. If someone said to me, if I have to daily this bike, I would. It would take me a little bit more time to get used to, because of the height. I'm not as tall as some people, I have longer legs as some people, so the height would be the biggest factor I would need to get used to. But once you sort that out, you can get lower end springs, you can cool down the exhaust through various ways, I've said. Yes, this bike would be in the top 10 bikes I would own if I had the money, for sure. So I hope you've taken away some information from this, and I'll give you some real life scenarios of what this bike is like to live with. Because I'm not just all technical, I try to do a little bit of lifestyle, try to do a bit of POV, try to do a little bit of everything. Not too much technical, because there's a lot more people more qualified. So I'll do a little POV ride with this after, and that will conclude my Scrambler 1200 XC video. I've loved this bike, I've enjoyed this bike, I've had an unbelievable time riding this around in Spain. I'm grateful to Triumph Adventure Centre in Spain, and Triumph in Spain as well, for everyone sorting me out.